Mr. Chair, and let me also endorse some of the comments of the previous speakers and congratulating you to your position as Assistant Chair. Good to see you in that chair once again, and I look forward to you reminding us of standing orders one after another for a very long time. Mr. Speaker, I think previous opposition speakers have stood and said that the Labour does support the bill for a number of reasons, but I'm actually quite amused by the contribution by my colleague, the Honourable Tau Henare, who suggests that this bill be renamed Drink Drivers Are Going to Get Pinged Bill, which is probably what he believes. I would endorse that to a point. I would say this should be named the bill Drink Drivers Are Going to Get Pinged, but they can still have a couple of beers more before they do get pinged. Because what this bill fails to do, Mr. Speaker, what it fails to do is take notice of public opinion. And public opinion is that the blood alcohol limit should be lowered from 0.08 to 0.05. And that clearly is something that the government has ignored. And as we know, it is very dangerous to ignore strong public opinion, particularly when it comes to matters of public safety on our roads. And so, Mr. Speaker, that is something we're quite disappointed to see in terms of this bill. But, you know, it is logical that we support the bill for a number of reasons, that the zero limit for repeat drink drivers, the zero limit for under 20 drivers, and we've seen much of that happen in recent years, actually over the past decade or so, and the alcohol interlocks for repeat offenders and doubling of the minimum prison term for drink and drug or reckless driving causing death. These are all issues that affect all our communities, and these are the issues that many of us as parents fear every time our young people leave home and go out and socialise with their friends, and all the time that they're out, we sit at home wondering if they're okay. Now, we should do everything possible in this House to ensure that our young people are okay when they go out and socialise. And that's why I say this bill, that's why the Labour opposition says this bill doesn't go anywhere far enough to satisfying our concerns as we sit at home, that our young people, our tamariki, our mokapuna are safe out there on the streets, and that they themselves are not endangering the lives of others. And so, Mr. Chair, it is important that we have a rigorous debate about this particular piece of legislation, knowing that at some time or another it may affect any one of us in this House in the most tragic way. But I heard former speakers refer to family circumstances. I mean, I'm fortunate to have 4 sons. I have a 15-year-old coming up 16, currently about to go for his probationary driver's license. I know this is his teenage ambition is to achieve that. He wants to be an automotive mechanic, unlike my other sons who have achieved to the very highest level in university, and so he just wants to be a mechanic. He just wants to be a person that can take a motor car to pieces and a person that can put it back together on his own. I myself come from a trade, as do many other people in the South, and it is actually a satisfying achievement to have a trade behind you. But having said that, at the age of 16, and I look at the possibility of raising the age limit in terms of young people acquiring their driver's license, I think that other people, my son will be fortunate to actually acquire his driver's license, enter into an automotive mechanics course at the Bay of Plenty Polytech, and there he can achieve just about anything he wants. Other people, though, if this legislation should come into force, it may be that it will restrict the ability of young people in the future to achieve what many other young people, young men and women have already achieved. You see, on these courses, Mr. Chair, a probationary driver's license is a necessity. You cannot get onto the course without it, and that makes a lot of sense. How are you going to fix a motor car, pull it to pieces, put it back together if you don't know how to drive it? It's just like many things. If you don't understand how the particular pieces of machinery work, you're never going to be an expert at working on them. And so, I want the government to actually think about that whilst it's attempting to promote public safety, although it be in a mediocre way, they may also limit the... Mr. Chair.
I call the Honourable Shane Jones.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Chair.
Point of order, the Honourable Tauhenare.
Clarification, Mr. Chair. Can you give me some clarification, some point to the standing orders where when two members from either side of the House get up and the same side gets the call again?
First of all, it's the discretion of the chair, and secondly, once I've called someone, I cannot take the call away from him. And I recognise the concern that the member has expressed, and I've noted that.
So where's the apology?
The call has already been made. I call the Honourable Member Shane Jones.
Mr. Chair, tēnā koe. Sir, it's very important that we note your encyclopedic knowledge of the arcane rules of Parliament have demonstrated that TOW represents zero waste. Because, sir, in order for waste to occur, sir, there has to be actually a product. And, sir, the entirety of this evening, sir, there has been no product, and there has actually been, sir, an enormous amount of fog, an enormous amount of confusion where that member, sir, prepared to deliver to his own minister his commitment to vote against the bill. He had not chosen to read the bill. He did not realise, sir, that this side of the House actually applauds some of what the minister is doing in terms of taking a zero-tolerance approach to these very young and vulnerable drivers. Please, sir, can we enable the minister to provide that message to Mr. Tauhenare? So I want to talk about the Land Transport, Road Safety and Other Matters Amendment Bill, the title. And so I have a suggestion. That it be called the Land and Marine Transport, Road and Marine Safety. And so that would have enabled us to actually address the issue of the day, which is gross danger, absence of safety in the marine environment today, and a total absence, a total disinterest on the part of the acting, and I use that term in its fullest meaning, acting energy minister. So I wish that this title had been expanded, and it would have enabled us to address one of the largest safety issues today. And it does relate to transport, sir. It relates to those intrepid yachties bobbing around out there defending the rights of the tangata whenua up and down the Tairāwhiti, long since forgotten about by members on the other side of the House. And so all they're doing is to ensure that their democratic rights, as they are transported around by yachts, and as they, sir, stand against the dangers represented by exploration activity in the absence of environmental safeguards, sir, that level of safety could have been addressed had we have changed the title to this bill. So I also want to talk about the commencement. Now, sir, thank you very much to the Minister and the Chair, explaining to the House that there is a reason as to why all these dates and these segments have been identified. It provides an opportunity for the police and various other agencies to prepare to actually enforce these rules. But, sir, what it actually causes us to look at is the royal assent. Now, so I want to bring members' attention to the rest of this Act comes into force on the day after the date of royal assent. Now, sir, royal assent has a very proud and rich history, and it goes, sir, right back to the Royal Council, at a time, sir, when the Parliament of that time was a pawn of the sovereign. Sir, we then have come right forward, although I feel it's necessary for me to point out to a number of the members in time of King Henry VIII, he actually sought to use the royal assent, or avoid actually using the royal assent, when he sought to execute his fifth wife. Now, sir, the prospect of execution and the most voluble member over there is actually, it's right. Sir, please counsel the member, if he keeps on going like that, he's going to have another heart attack. So he's getting too feverish. He's actually going to he runs the risk of having another heart attack, sir. And sir, and King Henry VIII, and I think it was in the sometime in the 1500s, sir, as he sought to execute his fifth wife, he wasn't actually interested in personally exercising the royal assent. And at that point, sir, he was able to depute to commissioners so he could effect the outcome, take his place in history, sir. The term of execution and that member's voice, they are inseparable. But, sir, the execution, unfortunately for that member, will be delivered by his colleagues. Because when we use the term zero, we're actually thinking about that poor man's prospects. Zero prospect of finding a seat. Mr. Chair.
I call the honourable member Michael Woodhouse.
Yeah. Now time.
Inspired decision, and I'm delighted to take a call on the